What's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel for my spoiler-free review for Weapons, a new R-rated horror film. And it's going to be a difficult one to review without divulging spoilers because this has a very heavy mystery element to it. This comes to us from director Cregger, who I believe made his debut with Barbarian back in 2022. I very much enjoyed that film and I was looking forward to what he would see with another original horror film. Obviously, originality is something that a lot of people believe is lacking in Hollywood right now, and I would agree with that sentiment. Like I said, I'm going to be vague, but here's the premise. So at 2:17 a.m. on a random morning, 17 out of the 18 kids in a third grade class get out of bed, walk out of their homes sporting a creepy-ass T-pose, and don't return. Justine, played by Julia Garner, is, I guess you could say, our pseudo-protagonist. She's the teacher of this class, and she's sort of been ostracized by the community. People suspect that she knows something, particularly Archer, played by Josh Brolin. He is the father of one of these missing kids, so he's also a very prominent member of the story. And that pretty much lays the groundwork for this mystery in which cops are about as incompetent as they come, so it's almost up to the townsfolk to go on their own little vigilante investigations to try to find these kids and figure out why they disappeared. It's also told in chapters, at least initially. Each one is from the perspective of a different one of the main characters. There are several distinct things that I really like about Cregger's films, and the first of which is how he's able to set up his stories in a way in which you genuinely have no idea where the story is going to go. Barbarian was the type of film that evolves and changes pretty much like every 20 minutes or so, and that unpredictability is intrinsically entertaining. The other thing that I really appreciate about his style is that he's able to seamlessly combine horrific violence and tension with uncomfortable humor. Weapons is not a horror comedy, but it does have laughs, and somehow the comedy almost never gets in the way of the horror. Like, I never got the feeling that this movie was flip-flopping between genres. It's more like they are ingredients thrown into a blender and mixed together in just the right proportions. The ratio of scares to laughs is actually probably very close to a 1-to-1. And Cregger is so sure of himself and confident in what he's doing that I would describe him as a visionary, even if I don't think the film is perfect. From a standpoint of cinematography, direction, production design, makeup, and effects, it's extremely sturdy stuff. I don't mind the non-linear, chapter-driven story format. In fact, I think it benefits some of the characters in this film, but there are, if I'm remembering correctly, like 6 or 7 of these distinct chapters that each focus on one specific character, and there are a few that left me thinking, did we really need an entire segment following this one character? This character who honestly doesn't have that big of a role in the rest of the film? I can't say that I was ever bored, but there are 2 chapters that follow a subplot surrounding a character, a cop, played by Alden Ehrenreich, I believe is how you say his name, and Austin Abrams, who plays a drug addict. Once again, it's not that their storyline wasn't entertaining, but if I had to think of something that could have been condensed, it's definitely the 2 chapters that follow them, especially considering their roles moving forward. I just didn't think they were worthy of their own section of the film when, I mean, this is like 2 hours and 10 minutes long, so if anything, I guess that's a testament to how good Josh Brolin and Julia Garner are in their roles, because I was much more intrigued by their characters and I wanted to follow their dynamic more, because they start out very much at odds with one another, and over the course of the film you see how they clearly have similar goals. Another issue that I have is that I think the film might actually show its cards a little too early. There's a scene in which it shows in detail some pretty revealing things much earlier on than I was expecting, and I certainly thought it was scarier when the veil of mystery was still intact. Now, I certainly think Cregger still makes the best of it in what I can only describe as a bonkers third act. He's having a lot of fun with some very dark concepts here, from the likes of kids going missing and parents left in limbo with no idea what happened to their children. But Weapons is not a scary movie in the sense that you're going to be hiding under your covers when you get home from seeing it at a late night screening. It's very creepy and eerie and unsettling, but never frightening in like the scariest movie of the year type of way. One last criticism that I have to throw out there is, the more I think about it, I do find it difficult to buy that the police didn't solve this mystery quicker. There's a throwaway line in the opening narration that does acknowledge the embarrassing effort from law enforcement in this situation. And I guess that's maybe the point. This community is a bit broken. They refuse to work together to solve this problem, and instead draw up reasons to be pitted against one another. And because there are some things that are so outlandish in this movie, I find it kind of difficult to fully criticize it for having some implausible elements. Look, ultimately, Weapons is a great film. It's got the mainstream horror moments of suspense, jump scares, and gore. All of that stuff is in top form. It's also got humor, and there is some solid character work that explores the ramifications of suburban hysteria during an unexplainable crisis. There are plenty of other things that I could say about where it goes in the end, and certain performances that I found highly memorable, but this is the kind of film that you want to go into knowing as little as possible, so I'm going to end my review here. And this is where I kick myself for having a rating scale at all, because I'm having a difficult time deciding between 4 stars and 4.5. Ultimately, I think Weapons is a very strong 4-star movie. I suppose we'll see how well it holds up on a rewatch, because I do plan to catch it a second time in theaters. And when it comes to a movie like this, when a lot of the mystery centers around certain reveals, I don't know how it's going to hold up a second time. You know, once you already know what's going on, is that first half, the build-up, still going to be as effective as it was the first time? Look, either way, it's still getting a very strong recommendation for me, so I suggest that you go out and check out this film for yourself, make up your own mind, let me know what you think of it down in the comments. This is easily one of the best films of the entire year so far. The only one that I can think of that could really rival it is Sinners. As always, hit that subscribe button and like this video if you want to see more content like this. I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.